Welcome, dear listeners, to a journey through the shadows, where reality blurs with the supernatural, and tales of terror grip the heart. Today, we venture into one of the most chilling and debated hauntings in American history, a story that has fascinated and horrified in equal measure. This is the account of the Amityville Horror. In the quiet town of Amityville, New York, the charming Dutch colonial house sits at 112 Ocean Avenue. But do not let its serene appearance fool you. Behind its picturesque windows lies a tale so disturbing, it has become the stuff of legends. Our story begins in 1974, with a tragedy that would stain the house forever. 6 members of the DeFeo family were found murdered, setting the stage for a haunting that would captivate the world. Just 1 year later, the Lutz family, seeking a new beginning, moved into the house, unaware of the dark events that had unfolded within its walls. What followed were 28 days of terror, experiences so terrifying they were compelled to flee, leaving behind their belongings and a tale that would echo through the ages. As we delve into the heart of this nightmare, we invite you to dim the lights, steady your nerves, and open your mind to the possibility that within the walls of the Amityville house, something beyond comprehension was at work. Was it the remnants of a tragic past, a malevolent entity, or something even more sinister? Join us as we explore the chilling account of the Amityville Horror, where the boundaries between the living and the dead, the natural and the supernatural, are as thin as the veil that separates fear from reality. Welcome, listeners, to a story that refuses to be forgotten, the tale of horror, mystery, and the unexplainable. Welcome to the Amityville Horror. Welcome, listeners, to a tale that weaves together the fabric of the supernatural with the darkest threads of human nature. Our story begins not with ghosts, but with a tragedy all too real, a tragedy that would set the stage for one of the most chilling hauntings in American history. In a quiet town of Amityville, New York, a house stood at 112 Ocean Avenue. It was a beautiful Dutch colonial home, picturesque and seemingly perfect for a family looking for a new beginning. However, beneath its charming exterior, the house harbored a dark past that would soon become the stuff of nightmares. In November of 1974, the tranquility of Amityville was shattered by a crime so heinous it would leave an indelible mark on the town and the nation. Ronald DeFeo Jr., in a spree of incomprehensible violence, murdered 6 members of his own family as they slept. Each victim was found lying face down in their bed, shot with a .35 caliber rifle. The brutal nature of the murders, and the fact that they occurred within the walls of a family home, left the community reeling, and the house itself stigmatized by death. The story could have ended there, another tragic entry in the annals of crime, but it was only the beginning. A little over a year later, in December of 1975, George and Kathy Lutz, along with their 3 children, moved into the Amityville house, drawn by its beauty and a promise of starting anew. Unaware of the full extent of the home's grim history, or perhaps underestimating its significance, they looked forward to making 112 Ocean Avenue their dream home. The Lutz's arrival at the Amityville house marked the start of a 28-day ordeal that would etch the name Amityville into the collective consciousness as a synonym for the paranormal and the unexplained. What they experienced within those walls defied logical explanation, challenging their understanding of reality and pushing them to the brink of terror. This introduction sets the stage for a journey into the unknown, where the boundary between the living and the dead blurs, and where a family's dream of happiness turns into an unimaginable nightmare. Join us as we delve into the chilling account of the Amityville Horror, a story of a house haunted not just by the spirits of the deceased, but by the echoes of their final, tragic moments. In December 1975, amidst the crisp chill of winter, the Lutz family stood on the threshold of 112 Ocean Avenue, their eyes screaming with hope and dreams of a new beginning. George and Kathy Lutz, with their 3 children, crossed into a new chapter of their lives, unaware that they were stepping into a narrative far darker than they could have imagined. The house, with its quiet walls and silent rooms, was a monument to a tragedy that refused to rest. From the very first night, the Lutz family found themselves enveloped in an atmosphere that was anything but welcoming. The air was thick with cold spots that defied the warmth of their hearth. Rooms that should have been filled with the laughter of a family settling in were instead saturated with foul odors that no amount of cleaning could dispel. And then there was the unease of feeling as if they were never truly alone, as if the house itself was watching, breathing alongside them. George and Kathy tried to rationalize these occurrences, attributing them to the stress of the move and the house's lingering mustiness. But the sensations persisted, growing stronger with each passing day, as if feeding off their growing apprehension. In an effort to cleanse their home and perhaps their own trepidation, they invited a priest to bless the house. His presence, they hoped, would cast out whatever remnants of the past lingered in the shadows. But what was meant to be a ceremony of peace turned into the harbinger of the horror that lay ahead. As the priest moved through the house, sprinkling holy water and uttering prayers, he entered a particular room that felt as though it were the heart of the unease. It was here, in the midst of his blessings, that he heard a voice, so chilling, so filled with malice, that it seemed to emanate from the very walls themselves. As the days unfolded in the shadow of 112 Ocean Avenue, the Lutz family found themselves ensnared in a web of inexplicable phenomena that seemed to grow more intense with each passing night. The house, with its dark history, was waking, and with it, the echoes of its past began to stir. The once silent nights were now punctuated by mysterious noises. Doors that had been securely closed would bang open with startling force, only to slam shut again, as if caught in a furious gust of wind. Footsteps echoed through the empty halls, a chilling cadence with no visible source. The family would often wake to these sounds, hearts racing, as they searched the house for an intruder who was never there. These disturbances, inexplicable and unnerving, seemed to mock their attempts at normalcy, a constant reminder that they were not alone. But it was not just the noises that plagued the Lutz family. Psychic disturbances began to weave their way through their daily lives. George, Kathy, and their children experienced severe mood swings, their emotions flipping like a switch without warning or reason. Anger, despair, and anxiety filled the rooms of the house, as palpable as the furniture that adorned them. Nightmares invaded their sleep, vivid and disturbing, leaving them to wonder where the dreams ended and reality began. Among these psychic torments, George Lutz faced a peculiar and recurring torment of his own. Each night, no matter how deep his sleep, he would find himself awake at precisely 3:15 a.m., gasping for breath, as if emerging from a nightmare. This time was not chosen at random. It was the approximate hour of the Defio murders, a grim echo of the house's violent past reaching out to him through the veil of sleep. This ritual awakening became a nightly ordeal, a sinister reminder of the tragedy that had unfolded within the walls he now called home. The sense of being watched, an ever-present gaze, hung over the Lutz family like a shroud. It followed them through the house, a weight on their shoulders that grew heavier with each day. The feeling was most oppressive in the evenings, as shadows lengthened and the corners of rooms grew darker. It was as if the house itself was alive, its unseen eyes fixed upon them, observing, waiting. As the physical and psychic disturbances intensified, the Lutz family struggled to maintain a semblance of normal life. But how does one find normalcy when the very fabric of their reality is being twisted by forces unseen? The boundaries between the natural and the supernatural have blurred, leaving them to question not only their sanity, but the very nature of the world around them. Chapter 2 of our tale leaves us on a precipice of understanding, gazing into the abyss of the Amityville horror. The Lutz family, caught in the grip of an unseen force, must confront the reality of their situation. Are they merely the victims of their own fears, or is there something truly malevolent at work within the walls of 112 Ocean Avenue? As we delve deeper into their story, the line between the living and the dead, between reality and nightmare, becomes ever more indistinct. What lies ahead is a journey into the heart of darkness, a journey from which there may be no return. As the days turned into weeks, the Lutz family struggled with the unseen forces within 112 Ocean Avenue deepened. The phenomena they experienced grew not only in intensity, but in strangeness, revealing aspects of the house that seemed almost sentient in their malevolence. It was in this atmosphere of escalating fear that the family stumbled upon one of the house's most disturbing secrets, the Red Room. Hidden away beneath the surface of normalcy the house projected was a small room that was not accounted for in the original house plans. Its discovery was accidental, a chilling surprise that sent a wave of dread through the family. The walls, ceiling, and floor were painted in a deep, ominous red, giving the room an unsettling aura that seemed to pulse with a life of its own. This room, hidden as though it were a dark heart beating beneath the floorboards, emanated a malevolence that was palpable. The air around it felt charged, heavy with a presence that whispered of secrets and sorrows long buried. The Lutz family instinctively knew this room was a place of significant power, a nexus of the supernatural forces tormenting them. But the Red Room was only the beginning. The house, it seemed, had more horrors to unveil. Not long after the discovery of the Red Room, the family was confronted with a phenomenon that defied all explanation. Green slime began to ooze from the walls and keyholes, a viscous substance that appeared without source or reason. Attempts to clean it were futile. It would return, as if the house itself was bleeding a sickness that could not be contained. This inexplicable occurrence added a new layer of terror to their ordeal, transforming their home into a tableau of the grotesque. The physical manifestations of the house's haunting were not confined to its interior. One morning, after a night of heavy snowfall, George Letts discovered something in the snow that chilled him to his core. There, leading away from the house, were tracks unlike any he had ever seen. They resembled the cloven hoofprints of a large pig, yet there was no animal in sight. The tracks appeared to start from the house itself, leading into the darkness of the surrounding land, as if some unseen entity had walked through the snow. This discovery was particularly disturbing, hinting at a physical presence of the supernatural forces at work, a tangible sign of the demonic that seemed to have laid claim to their home. Chapter 3 of our story plunges us deeper into the heart of the Amityville horror, revealing a house that is not just haunted, but alive with a malevolent will. The Lutz family, caught in the grip of these escalating phenomena, find themselves facing not just ghosts of the past, but a present that is increasingly twisted by the supernatural. The Red Room, the green slime, and the cloven hoofprints stand as harbingers of darker secrets yet to be uncovered, each one a piece of the puzzle that is 112 Ocean Avenue. As we move forward, the question becomes not just what lies ahead for the Lutz family, but whether they can withstand the revelations that await them in the shadows of their own home. in the harrowing saga of the Lutz family and the malevolent forces within 112 Ocean Avenue. Chapter 4 marks a turning point, a final, desperate attempt to confront the darkness. With each day more unbearable than the last, the family, driven to the edge of despair, decided to seek answers beyond the physical realm. They invited a medium to conduct a séance, hoping to communicate with the spirits haunting their home, and perhaps find a way to peace. This decision, born out of a mixture of fear, hope, and desperation, would lead them into the deepest shadows of the unknown. The séance was held under a heavy atmosphere of apprehension, the air thick with the unseen. As the medium reached out into the ether, the tension in the room grew palpable. What followed was a chilling revelation. The medium confirmed the presence of malevolent spirits, entities filled with anger and a desire to harm. The spirits spoke of the house's dark past, of bloodshed and sorrow that had soaked into the very foundations of 112 Ocean Avenue. The medium's voice, a conduit for the voices of the dead, filled the room with a cold dread that seemed to seep into the very bones of the family. This was no longer just a haunted house. It was a nexus of hatred and pain that defied the living's understanding. The séance, far from providing solace or solutions, served only to terrify the Lutzes further. It was a glimpse into the abyss, a confirmation of their worst fears that the house was beyond the realm of normalcy, a place forsaken by the light. The spirit's messages were cryptic, yet the intent was clear. The family was not welcome, and their continued presence was an affront to the entities that claimed the house as their own. This revelation was the final straw. After enduring 28 days of escalating terror, the Lutz family made the heart-wrenching decision to leave. In a state of near panic, driven by the instinct to survive, they chose to abandon 112 Ocean Avenue, leaving behind their possessions, their dreams, and a piece of their souls. The decision to leave was abrupt, a flight in the dead of night, but it was a testament to the unbearable horror they had faced. They left with nothing but the clothes on their backs, and the haunting memories of their brief tenure in the house. Chapter 4 closes on a note of desperate escape, a family fleeing from an unseen enemy that had invaded every aspect of their lives. The Lutz's departure from the house was not just a physical act of leaving a location. It was an attempt to escape a nightmare that had become all too real. Yet, as they drove away from 112 Ocean Avenue, the question lingered in the air like a thick fog. Can one ever truly escape such profound darkness? The house remained, silent and waiting, its secrets locked behind doors that might never be opened again. The story of the Lutz family's encounter with the Amityville horror is a chilling reminder that some places are touched by something beyond our understanding, places where the past is not dead and the dead are not at rest. As the dawn broke, on the day following the Lutz family's hasty departure from 112 Ocean Avenue, the tale of their harrowing experiences began to seep into the public consciousness, transforming the narrative from a private ordeal into a global phenomenon. The story of the Amityville Horror captured the imagination of the world, quickly spiraling into a saga that was chronicled through books, documentaries, and films. Each retelling added layers to the legend, amplifying the fear and fascination that surrounded the house and its supposed hauntings. However, as with all tales that tread the fine line between reality and the paranormal, skepticism cast its long shadow over the events reported by the Lutzes. Critics emerged, armed with doubts and theories, questioning the veracity of the family's account. Allegations of exaggeration, or worse, fabrication, began to surface, suggesting that the terror experienced by the Lutz family might have been concocted for profit. The debate between believers and skeptics turned the story into a contentious topic, with each camp staunchly defending its position. In the midst of the storm of publicity, investigations and reports sought to pierce the veil of mystery that enveloped the Amityville house. Skeptics and paranormal investigators alike descended upon the property, armed with scientific methods and a determination to uncover the truth. Many of these efforts aimed to debunk the supernatural claims, attributing the strange occurrences to natural causes, hoaxes, or the power of suggestion. Despite their efforts, conclusive proof remained elusive, leaving the door open to interpretation and further speculation. The legacy of the Amityville Horror extends far beyond the debates over its authenticity. The story has embedded itself into the fabric of American folklore, becoming a touchstone for discussions on the supernatural. Its cultural impact is undeniable, having inspired a myriad of adaptations in film, literature, and television, each iteration exploring the dark allure of the unknown. The tale of the Amityville Horror continues to fascinate and terrify, a testament to its enduring power to captivate the human imagination. As the years pass, the lines between fact and fiction, reality and myth, continue to blur. The Amityville house stands as a monument to this ambiguity, a place where the echoes of the past mingle with the whispers of the present. Whether one believes the Lutz family's account or dismisses it as a cleverly constructed tale, the Amityville Horror remains a chilling narrative that challenges our understanding of the natural and the supernatural. In the end, the true nature of what transpired within the walls of 112 Ocean Avenue may never be fully understood. The Amityville Horror, with its blend of true crime and supernatural elements, serves as a reminder of the mysteries that lie beyond the reach of human comprehension, inviting us to question the reality we take for granted. The story, with all its fear, apprehension, and ambiguity, continues to resonate, a dark whisper from the shadows that refuses to be silenced. As our journey through the chilling corridors of the Amityville horror comes to a close, we find ourselves standing at the crossroads of belief and skepticism, where the tangible meets the unexplainable. The tale of the Lutz family and the enigmatic house at 112 Ocean Avenue has traversed the realms of horror, mystery, and the supernatural, leaving an indelible mark on the canvas of American folklore. The echoes of the past linger in the air, a haunting reminder of the thin veil that separates our world from the one that lies just beyond our comprehension. The story of the Amityville horror, woven from the threads of true crime and spectral encounters, invites us to peer into the darkness, challenging our perceptions of reality. As we bid farewell to the shadows of Amityville, let us carry with us the reminder that some mysteries remain unsolved, some stories untold, and some fears unquelled. The legacy of the Amityville horror, with its blend of dread and fascination, continues to captivate and terrify, a testament to the power of the human imagination to conjure nightmares from the abyss. Thank you for joining me on this haunting exploration. Whether you walk away a believer in the supernatural forces that purportedly dwell within the Amityville house, or a skeptic of the tales that have emerged from its doors, one thing remains certain. The story of the Amityville horror has etched itself into the annals of horror history, a chilling narrative that whispers to us in the dead of night, urging us to question the reality that surrounds us. Until we meet again, keep the lights on, and may the stories we share never lose their power to enchant, terrify, and inspire. This is the end of our tale, but the mystery of Amityville lingers on, an enigmatic chapter in the book of the paranormal, forever inviting us to look closer, to listen harder, and to wonder what truly lies beyond the veil of our understanding.